We all go through disappointments and things that are not fair. And it's easy to hold on to the hurts and think about what they said, and relive the offense. We get up in the morning, and it's the first thing that comes to mind. We don't realize how much that's affecting us, souring our attitude, draining our energy, limiting our creativity. If you're going to fulfill your destiny, you have to get good at letting things go. Jesus said, offenses will come. He didn't say they might come. If you're a good person, if you're nice, nobody will do you wrong. He said, disappointments will come. Betrayals, things that are not fair will come. How you deal with these offenses, how you handle the hurts will determine whether you move forward and see the new things God has in store, or whether you get stuck, bitter over what didn't work out. I've heard it said, if you don't heal from emotional wounds, you will bleed on people that had nothing to do with it. How many people are living wounded over how they were raised, a friend that walked away, business partner that cheated them? Instead of letting it go, they replay it in their mind, relive all the hurt. They wonder why they don't have good relationships. It's because they haven't healed. They're living out of a wounded place. God brings a new person, somebody great, but they're so insecure. They don't feel valuable, attractive. This new person has to keep them fixed, go overboard to make sure they know how great they are. The problem is that's not sustainable until you get well, until you let go of what didn't work out, not carry the hurt. That wound is going to hinder you wherever you go. If you're still wounded over a position you lost, you'll go to that new company defensive, on edge, not friendly. You're treating them based on what you've been through, but they had nothing to do with it. It's much more freeing when you learn to let things go. Wasn't fair? That's okay. God will be your vindicator. He'll take care of who did you wrong. It's not your job to pay people back. They hurt you once, don't let them continue to hurt you by holding on to it. You lost a loved one. I know that's painful. It's okay to go through a season of mourning, but you can't hold on to the hurt. Living in mourning is going to keep the new doors from opening. You have to heal so you can see the new relationships, the new opportunities. In the scripture, Peter asked Jesus how often he should forgive someone that did him wrong. It's funny because Peter was known to be offensive. He's the one that cursed out the young lady when Jesus was arrested. He cut off a soldier's ear defending Jesus. He said, Jesus, should I forgive them 7 times? The Jewish law said 3 times. He more than doubled it. He thought, Jesus, I'm growing. I'm come a long way. Jesus said, Peter, 7 is good, but I want you to forgive them 70 times 7. It wasn't really about the number. Jesus was showing us a principle. He was saying, I want you to live in a continual process of forgiveness. Not something you do every once in a while, but on a daily basis, forgiveness should be a part of our life. He was setting a system in place so we wouldn't hold on to the hurts, offenses, disappointments. He knew that practically every day we would have these opportunities. And the quicker you let things go, the easier it is. In the Lord's Prayer, Jesus told us to pray, give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive others. He was saying every day we should be ready to forgive. Doesn't have to be big things. That man that cut you off in traffic, let it go. Don't let that sour your day. Your time is valuable. That's a distraction trying to get you off course, offended over something that doesn't matter. That clerk that's rude to you at the grocery store, just smile and move on. I've learned life is full of wounded people, people that haven't dealt with the negative things in their past. At times they'll be disrespectful. They'll say things they shouldn't, do things that are hurtful. You can't stop the offense from coming, but you can keep it from getting down in you. How much time are you spending offended, bitter, holding a grudge? How much more could you accomplish if you would start letting things go? How much better relationships would you have if you would get emotionally healthy? If you would let go of what people said, forgive the person that did you wrong, Quit reliving the hurts. This is where David in the scripture excelled. He was an expert at letting things go. As a teenager, his father didn't really believe in him. He looked down on David, didn't affirm him. When the prophet Samuel came to his father's house to choose one of the sons as the next king of Israel, his father didn't call David in from the shepherd's fields. He thought he was too small, too young, not that talented. He didn't give him a chance. It was only after Samuel didn't choose one of the other sons that David was called in. David could have lived bitter, chip on his shoulder. He felt the sting of rejection from his own family. His brothers made fun of him. When David took them lunch out on the battlefield, his oldest brother, in front of all the soldiers, tried to belittle him. He said, "David, what are you doing here? What'd you do with those few sheep you're supposed to be taking care of?" He was condescending, sarcastic. David could have been upset, offended, but the scripture says David turned and walked away. He knew the importance of letting things go. Had David not done this, he would have never seen Goliath. Had he stayed there and tried to straighten out his brother, we wouldn't be talking about him. And the truth is, David's father wasn't fair. It wasn't right to leave him out in the fields. His brothers were demeaning, belittling, but you can't make people do what's right. It's a test. Are you holding on to the offense? Let the betrayal, what they said, how they treated you, cause you to be sour? Wake up thinking about it? Or are you going to let it go and move forward into your destiny? There's a Goliath waiting for you, a new level past the offense, past the rejection, past what they said. My prayer is that we will do like David and live with this perpetual forgiveness, that we'll develop a habit of forgiving daily. When offenses come, they bounce off of us like water off of a duck's back. Family member doesn't believe in you, that's unfortunate, but that's not going to keep you from doing great things. Coworker tries to make you look bad, embarrass you. Most people would be upset, start a fight, pay them back, but you're a David. You recognize that's a distraction. You let it go, knowing that God will take care of your enemies. One way God vindicates you is He promotes you in the presence of your enemies. He doesn't do it in private, but in public, so that those that left you out, discounted you, tried to make you feel small, they will see you promoted, honored, in a position of greater influence. When David defeated Goliath, the whole army was in awe. The city was cheering. Even the Philistines, the opposition, couldn't believe what David had done. God knows how to lift you up when people try to push you down. Don't let that offense in. Start letting things go quickly. Don't think about it a week and then you'll do it. You won't have to get over so many emotional wounds if you don't let the offense in the first place. If David would have woken up each morning, thought about his father mistreated him, why did he leave me out, how his brothers were demeaning, that bitterness, the anger, the self-pity would have stopped his destiny. When the offense comes up, don't go there. Keep your mind on the positive. Think on things that are good, wholesome, uplifting. It's not doing anything productive to think about something negative that was said about you. Relive how the person walked away, rehearse all the pain, go back over all the sorrow. That's going to keep you from healing. Let it go. That's in the past. God saw what happened. He heard what they said. He knows what you lost. If you will let it go, He'll make it up to you. He'll give you beauty for those ashes. A friend of mine grew up in a single-parent home. At 5 years old, his father walked out of his life and wouldn't have anything to do with him. As a little boy, he longed to see his dad, but he wouldn't return the mother's call. In his teens, he would send letters to his father, birthday cards, Happy Father's Day. He wanted his father's approval so badly, just to know that he cared, but he never heard a word. He felt the rejection. Thoughts told him he wasn't good enough. There was something wrong with him, but he didn't go there. He didn't let the bitterness in, the self-pity. He said what the psalmist said, even if my mother and father forsake me, God will adopt me as His very own child. When you live in a state of perpetual forgiveness, it's amazing how, despite the injustice, despite how unfair it is, you'll still be happy. You'll still enjoy your life. You'll still do great things. When he was in his 30s, his father finally agreed to see him. He was so excited, it was a dream come true. He flew to another city, knocked on the door. A lady answered and said, "I'm sorry, your father has changed his mind. He's not going to see you." I thought he would be devastated. He said, "Joel, it didn't really bother me. I had already prepared if he wouldn't see me, I was going to let it go and move on." It has not stopped this young man. He has 4 beautiful children. He's happily married, very successful. I would have never known he didn't have an amazing childhood. When you learn to let things go, disappointments can't stop you. Unfair people, how you were raised, bad breaks, you'll keep rising higher, seeing the goodness of God. I've met other people that have been through things like my friend. They're bitter, angry, chip on their shoulder, stuck in life. What's the difference? They hold on to everything. You can't stop it from coming, but you can keep the poison from getting on the inside. When you bury negative emotions, they never die. You can't bottle up the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, and think that's not going to affect you. "Joel, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did. I can't let it go. They hurt me too badly." You're not doing it for their sake. You're doing it for your sake.